Oh, look. It's me, as a student of Spanish and French back in the 1990s. Why am I choosing to lead with a snapshot from the last century? Well, by the time this photo was taken, I had spent every day for the previous 6 years trying to get my tongue around 3 non-English languages. And despite my thousands of hours of linguistic study, the best you could really expect of me overseas would be to buy a bus ticket without much of a comedy accent. But today, thanks to artificial intelligence, the 2024 version of me has become a miraculous polyglot. I can master dozens of world languages, no effort required, no conjugation of verbs, no lists of vocab. As an imaginary test case, let's explore what AI's breakthroughs in human language might mean for something as simple as a 10-second publicity video.
Come to our library. The university has world-class teachers, a diverse student demographic, and all the latest technology.
Well, obviously not a real video. For the purposes of demonstration, I put together that 10-second clip to stand in for some genuine publicity material. I know what you were thinking as you were watching the video. You were thinking, that is going to need some finessing before it hits the international film circuit. And you're right, true enough. In its current form, it's of limited interest outside of the English-speaking market. But that is okay, because now I can use a web-based AI tool to translate my video into any one of 29 languages. So I've chosen Hey Jen because I've used it before. It's worked very well for me. I have uploaded my video exactly as it was, and it now becomes as complex as choosing my target language. The publicity for this site says they do 40 plus languages. I can only find 29 in this list, but it's still better than I can speak myself. So I pick my destination language and I hit translate this video. It will then take 5 or 10 minutes to generate, and at that point I have myself a video dubbed into a different language without needing to refilm, without needing to find a native speaker to redub for me. So, how about we take a look at our test video again, this time dubbed into Romanian.
Vino la biblioteca noastră. Universitatea are profesori de clasă mondială, o demografie studențească diversă și toată tehnologia cea mai recentă.
And now again in Hindi.
हमारी पुस्तकालय में आइए। विश्वविद्यालय में विश्व स्तर के शिक्षक, विविध छात्र जनसांख्यिकी और सभी नवीनतम प्रौद्योगिकी है।
Certainly shows that I can transform an existing video without hiring a translator and a voice actor. So, now I have the option for parallel versions of the video in any selection of 29 languages. But perhaps the viewers might find a voiceover video a bit impersonal. Maybe I want to target the audience better by putting a human face up on screen. Maybe somebody with which the demographic might better relate. Luckily, I can do just that. I don't need to hire actors and I don't need to find native speakers. I can go to one of several services that would allow me to create a 3D avatar that talks. I've gone here to VidNoz because I've used it before. There are other sites available. They charge. This one seems to be free for most things. So I will whiz through this, but basically I will create a video. I will start with a blank template for demonstration purposes. And I will pick my avatar. So at this point, I now get a series of talking faces that I can use to host my video. So let's arbitrarily pick one that I think will appeal to my demographic. It's this guy here. And so I've chosen him. I will now choose what he's going to say in what language. I can now choose, again, from a very wide range of languages. For demonstration, let's imagine this man is Catalan. I will need, of course, to create myself a script in Catalan, but that's not difficult because I can paste it into ChatGPT, translate into Catalan, and my script. There we go. So I have a translated script. I could just copy that, stick it in here, and hit generate. It really is as simple as that. There's all sorts of sophisticated things I can do, such as adding images to the background, add a moving video to the background. But basically, that's all I need to do to create a talking head in a variety of languages. Let's take a look at the results, starting with a version of our video optimized for the Japanese audience.
私たちの図書館に来てください。世界クラスの教師と多様な学生の人口統計、そして最新の技術を揃えています。
And how about Zulu?
Yiza ethu lalethuveni. Sihlomile ngabafundisi abasezingeni lomhlaba, isizinda sabafundi esihlukahlukene kanye nobuchwepheshe bamuva.
All right, the avatars are still a bit robotic, uncanny valley. But the technology is moving along so quickly. How realistic do you think they'll look in 6 months? A year? How soon until we can create an avatar that is undetectable? My guess is not very long. But let's imagine that I want to make my video more personal by using my own voice, the human touch. Traditionally, I would have had to sit down and record the narration, endlessly umming, eyeing, and fluffing my lines. A simple voiceover might have taken me ages to get right. Thankfully, in 2024, I can get AI to clone my voice. So, to create a clone of my own voice, I will come here to 11 Labs, who at the moment seem to be leading the world in voice cloning and other forms of voice synthesis. It is a very straightforward process to create a copy of my voice. I will go to Voices Create. I will add a generative or cloned voice. I will choose instant voice cloning here because it's the free option. I will then give it a name, a voice a name that is, and I would hit the microphone, and I would at that point be prompted to record a series of 25 30-second samples of my voice. And I would then hit add voice. 11 Labs would take a few minutes to generate it, but at that point I would have a very versatile, fully working copy of my own voice that I could use.
This is the cloned version of my voice. I think it's convincing enough. Certainly not bad based on a couple of minutes of me reading from the Wikipedia. Maybe I'm not dropping enough T's, and there certainly aren't any ums and ahs, but a perfectly plausible rendition. It certainly would let me record long voiceovers without fluffing my lines, no matter how long the text. I could create an audio of my narration and re-record it painlessly anytime the content needed updating. All I would have to do would be copy and paste the script into 11 Labs and hit Generate. Plus, I can now use my cloned voice to create audio in any one of 30 languages. Would you like to hear a few samples? Als Gregor Samsa eines Morgens aus unruhigen Träumen erwachte, fand sich in seinem Bett zu einem ungeheuren Ungeziefer verwandelt. Все счастливые семьи похожи друг на друга, каждая несчастливая семья несчастлива по-своему. Menina eden θεαπηλιά ο Achilleus. Aimi wa hiroi. いつか必ず優しい人に会えるから。
So, using my clone voice, I can now generate 29 voiceovers in different languages. But maybe even that's not ambitious enough for me. Perhaps I want to personalize this video to the max by having my own face talking on screen in a foreign language. I could try redubbing the video with my multilingual cloned narrations, but that would definitely suffer from the same problem as any Bruce Lee film, namely that the voice would get comically out of sync with the lip movements.
来我们的图书馆，大学拥有世界级的教师、多元化的学生群体以及所有最新的技术。
But in these days of AI, I'm sure we can do much better than that. If we go back to Hey Jen, where we did some translations earlier, this time I can pick the video translate option. At this point, I would upload a copy of the video with my talking head speaking English. I would choose my target language, which in this case is going to be Mandarin, and then I would click translate this video. At this point, it can take quite a while to run because I am not a paid subscriber, so I have to wait behind everybody else. So for instance, when I generated my last video, there were about 2,000 people ahead of me in the queue, and it took a couple of hours, but it's still free. And what Hey Jen is going to do is translate what I'm saying from English to Mandarin, clone my voice and create a Mandarin voiceover of it, and manipulate my lip movements to match up. And this is the same technology that very recently allowed the Argentinian president at Davos to seemingly give a speech in English. Let's take a look at the final result, which should show a mediocre linguist from the 1990s talking confidently in Mandarin.
来我们的图书馆，该大学有一流的教师、多元化的学生和最新的技术设备。
That Mandarin speaking finale wraps it up from me. Artificial intelligence will inevitably bring staggering paradigm shifts to the traditional barriers of language. I don't expect any of us can imagine the ramifications of a world in which everyone can potentially communicate with everyone else. I hope you have been interested to watch my musings on the ways in which, with no budget and very little effort, you can potentially repurpose any of your presentations, documentation, or training materials to cater for an international audience. And please don't judge me on my videography.